as far as political and social stability is concerned, the best is to follow the guidelines of the glorious Quran and authentic Hadith. There is no better book than the Quran, than the authentic Hadith in terms of politics, in terms of stability and social stability and political stability. The best books on politics is the glorious Quran and the Hadith. And the best people that ruled a state was the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the time of Khulafa Rashidin, at the time of the Khalifa, Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Usman, Hazrat Ali. So if you ask me what is the best for Bangladesh, is to follow Quran and Sunnah. The way the Prophet and the Khulafa Rashidin ruled the state at that time, that is the best example. There's nothing better than that. And it's described in detail in the Quran and the Sahih Hadith. But natural, you cannot implement it overnight. So my advice to you would be, as far as political and social stability is concerned, that today see in the world that I cannot point out a single Muslim country which is following Sharia as a whole. But there are certain aspects in which certain things are more adhered to Quran and Sunnah as compared to other things. So look around the Muslim country that you have and see how well they are ruling the country. Since Bangladesh and Pakistan separated from India on the basis of religion, on the basis of Islam, it is mandatory that the country should make Quran as the constitution. It's unfortunate that Pakistan separated. Of course, the Nia may be good, but today when we look at it and we realize, so Pakistan is the only country in the world that we know, besides Israel, that has split in the name of religion. Of course, Bangladesh was earlier called as East Pakistan, and this was West Pakistan. So I feel that Bangladesh, they split on the basis of religion. They should make Quran the constitution. Unfortunately, after the father of the previous prime minister, Sheikh Hasina, was a dictator, she fled after the protest started. Her father also, her father Mujibur Rahman, he was not Islamic, he was more of a secular person, and he made the country as secular. So initially, East Pakistan was part of Pakistan. Then they fought again for the freedom for what? They already got the freedom from India. They made a new country in the name of Islam. So you cannot make a country in the name of Islam and then make the country a secular country. It is absurd. So number one, Bangladesh should not be made as a secular country. It should be made as an Islamic country, and they should follow the constitution of the Quran and the Sahih Hadith. And they should have the social and the political system as per the Quran and Sahih Hadith. If you do that, inshallah, you'll be successful. Now, coming to the point that, as I told, there is no country in the world today that is following Sharia 100%. But that doesn't mean it will not happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises in the Quran in no less than 3 different places. In Surah Tawbah chapter 9 verse number 33, in Surah Fatah chapter 48 verse 28, and Surah Saf chapter 61 verse number 9, where it says, Allah says, هُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولَهُ بِالْهُدَى وَالدِّينُ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ, that Allah sent His messenger with guidance and the religion of truth, so that it will prevail over all the other religions, over all the other isms. However much the mushriks don't like it. In 2 places, Allah says that وَلَوْ قَرِيَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ, however much the mushriks don't like it, the idol worshippers don't like it. And one place Allah says that وَقَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا, and enough is Allah as a witness. So Allah is giving a promise. Allah is promising in the last and final revelation, the Quran, that this deen will prevail over all the other religions, over all the other isms, whether it be Christianism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, socialism, atheism, communism. Islam is destined to supersede all kulli, overcome them all, وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا, and enough is Allah the witness. How much the Muslims don't like it. So this deen is going to prevail. And there are various Sahih Hadith talking about it, that before the end of the world, the Muslims will rule the world as per the Quran and Sahih Hadith for 7 years. So whether Bangladesh follows the Quran or not, a time will come that the full world will be ruled by Quran and Sahih Hadith. So my advice to you would, that if you want to politically solve the problem of Bangladesh, see to it you follow the Quran and the Sahih Hadith. Don't follow what was done by Mujibur Rahman, make a secular country. You fought for your religion, for your deen, and now you're betraying your own deen. So number one is rule it according to the Quran and Sunnah. And inshallah there will be social stability and political stability. The second part of the question was religious freedom and rights. What is the Islamic perspective on protecting minority rights in a predominantly Muslim country like Bangladesh? How should Muslims in Bangladesh respond to challenges related to religious freedom and interfaith harmony? As far as religious freedom and rights are concerned, there is no country in the world, there is no system in the world that gave rights to the followers of other faith like what Islam has given. And you have that in the history of the seerah of the Prophet. You have the history in the seerah of the Khulafa Rashidin, whether it be Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Usman, Hazrat Ali, may Allah be pleased with them all. So, in Islam, the non-Muslims are secured. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 256, La ikraha fid deen, there is no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. So in Islam there is no compulsion. So in Islam, suppose if there is a religious structure, whether it be a church, whether it be a synagogue, whether it be a temple, they are safe. Unless it's creating a fitna, that's a different case. If it is creating a fitna, and then you have to remove it different. But generally, in an Islamic state, if the existing temples and churches and synagogues, they are secured. You aren't allowed to attack it, you aren't allowed to destroy it, unless it's creating a fitna, that's a different question. But generally, they are safe and they are secured. They should be protected. So, similarly, in Bangladesh, following the Islamic principles, all the non-Muslim places of worship, they should be protected. They should be safe. They need not spend money protecting it. Yes, in Islamic country, you may not build new churches or new temples, but whatever is existing, they are protected. And you have several such examples. If you know the history of Salahuddin Ayyub, Salahuddin Ayyubi, when he conquered Jerusalem, where it was under the clutches of the Christians, and how he went and he liberated it. And when he went there, the Christians, they knew that what atrocities they had done to the Muslims, how they fled the land. Now that they've come back to power, how will they treat us? They were afraid. And when they asked how will they be treated, so the reply given by Salahuddin Ayyubi is that I am different. That they asked, will you take revenge? Will you teach us a lesson? He said, I am Salahuddin Ayyubi. I am Salahuddin, you are safe from me. And he saw to it that he gave them all their rights and they were secured. A Muslim, a non-Muslim in a Muslim political system is secured. They are safe. And as far as religious freedom is concerned, but naturally I am of the opinion of whether it be Saudi Arabia, the Gulf countries, they do not allow propagation of other religion. And I agree with that. If you know something is wrong, you will not allow that thing to be taught. For example, all of us know maths. Simple question, if you want to keep a maths teacher, and the maths teacher teaches 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, then will you appoint the teacher? And the answer is no. Because we know basics of math. So similarly, if we know basics of math, we will not appoint a teacher which says 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. We'll appoint a teacher that says 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So similarly, as far as religious freedom is concerned, they can practice the religion. If the mosques are there, it is safe, it's secured, they cannot be demolished. And at the same time, they can take guidance. In religious freedom, there should be interfaith dialogue, there should be commonalities, as Allah says, Ta'alaw ila kalimatin sawa'in bayna bainakum. Come to common terms as with Asaynu, which is the first term, Allah na'budu illallah. That we worship none but Allah. So we should know that the main purpose of life is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you see to it that all your luggage that is there, that as far as religious freedom is concerned, we give them the rights, but they cannot step on our toes. They cannot propagate things which we believe is wrong. They can practice it as long as they don't propagate their religion and they don't get a fitna. They can stay, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give hidayah and will see to it that they follow the deen. The third part of the question is economic challenges. Dr. Zakir Naik, what guidance does Islam provide for addressing economic inequality and poverty in Bangladesh? How can Islamic principles be applied to improve the economic situation of the underprivileged in Bangladesh? The fourth pillar of Islam, or rather the third pillar of Islam, it is zakat. The first is Tawheed, second is Salah, third is zakat. And according to the third pillar of Islam, that is zakat, every rich Muslim who has a saving of more than the nisab level, has a saving of more than 85 grams of gold, he or she should give 2.5% of that saving in charity. It's compulsory zakat every year, every lunar year. So in this system, what Islam proposes is there should be a Baitul Mal or a Zakat Baitul Mal. That means zakat of the full community, all in the full country collected, and then if it's under one entity, under one banner, it will be more powerful, it will be more effective. So if the system of Baitul Mal, that you put your zakat into Baitul Mal, and the Baitul Mal is again the economic system is such that if you put Baitul Mal, that Baitul Mal can support various activities. If it's a centralized Baitul Mal, the amount collected would be huge, and then you can decide whether you should renovate the mosque or whether you should make a new complex, where should you invest. So if the Baitul Mal is big, it can help the Muslim Ummah and the social benefits. The economic challenges is that you should give zakat, and if you give zakat, Al-Quran says in Surah Hashr chapter 15 verse number 7, it prevents the wealth from circulating only among the rich. And as far as economy is concerned, Allah has told us in several places, including Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 75, verse number 78, that Muslims should not deal in riba as interest. Today, unfortunately, the full world economy is controlled by riba, and therefore the power of economy is in the hands of few Jews, which they control the banks of the world. So Islam is against interest-based banking. Islam is against doing business on interest. Riba is prohibited. But there is an Islamic alternative, which is called a Sharia-compliant bank. And these Sharia-compliant investments, etc., we have to see to it that if we follow these principles, the economy will be stable. And the currency also will be powerful. That's the reason my advice is That's see you to follow Quran and Sunnah, follow the economic system, follow the Sharia compliancy, and inshallah that would be helpful for the country of Bangladesh. Question number 4, education and youth. What role should Islamic education play in addressing the contemporary challenges faced by the youth in Bangladesh? How can young Muslims in Bangladesh balance modern education with traditional Islamic teaching? The first guidance given in the Quran to humanity was not to pray, was not to fast, was not to perform Hajj. It was Iqra. It was read. It was proclaim. It was recite. So the first guidance given to humanity in the glorious Quran was to educate yourself. And it's compulsory on every Muslim man or woman to acquire knowledge. That is the hadith of the Prophet. So education is a must. Regarding education and youth, and of course for the youth it's more important. And how should you incorporate the Islamic teachings? We had launched a school in Bombay in the year 2001, Islamic International School, and our motto was education for both the worlds. That means educate the children on the Islamic pattern. At the same time, it was affiliated with the IGCSE. So the degree is coming from UK. So there were the formal subjects and the Islamic subject. The formal degree recognition came from UK. So we were registered under the IGCSE system. It's the largest recognized system in the world, where there are tens of thousands of students every year passing. So no one will say it's a Muslim-owned school or it's a Indian school. The degree is coming from UK. So our motto was education for both the worlds. So it was formal education and Islamic education. We saw to it that we taught Islam from nursery and started reading the Quran in junior KG, senior KG. Hifz started from first standard. By the time the child reaches 4th or 5th, is Hafiz al-Quran. So we select some students. And it was a dual language of instruction, Arabic and English. Arabic is the language of the Quran, language of the Hadith. So we felt it's important that our students know Arabic as a language. So if you see that in our school, we had Deen and Dunya both put together. And when the periods, the classes were divided in the full week in 5 days to 60 classes, if you analyze, maybe 35–40% were in Arabic, the remaining in English. And even the English subjects, there was a separate subject called Islamic Studies. It was, talking about Islam in English language. So those who don't understand Arabic, etc., they understand directly and they gain. So it was Islamic Studies in English. So if you put Arabic together and the Hifz together and the Islamic subjects in Arabic, Tawheed, Sharia, Fiqh, etc., along with the English Islamic studies put together, so more than 50% was Islam. MashaAllah. So education, it was a unique school and was doing very well, but when we did Hijrah, of course now it's not the same as before. But my advice is that we should have this combination of education for both the world, like how we had in Bombay, and this will be the best to educate the children and the youth. They will be inclined towards modern technology, etc., but according to Sharia compliance. This will be the best, and the country will progress maximum in this. There are 2 more sub-questions to it before we end this session. The 5th question is cultural and social issues. Dr. Zakir Naik, what is the advice on combating cultural degradation while preserving Islamic values in Bangladesh? How should Muslims in Bangladesh address issues such as corruption and moral decline in society? How can you solve the problems of culture and social issues in Bangladesh? And he has pointed out 2 things about corruption and moral declinity. The moral values are declining. Allah says in the Quran in Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 188 that do not use your wealth as the bait for judges in order to eat other people's wealth. Here Allah is telling in a nutshell that bribing is haram. you cannot use your wealth to bribe the judges to give the verdict in your favor. So bribing is prohibited in Islam, and also talking about the moral values that are declining. So if you follow the Islamic principles, what Allah has said, then inshallah the moral values will not be declined. If you break the Islamic principles, there will be problem. Like, for example, the morality has declined. You see women in the Muslim country, they are freely, they are walking without the head covered, they are wearing mini skirts, they are following the Western culture. So if you follow and realize, as Quran says in Surah Nur, chapter number 24, verse number 30, that say to the believing man that he should lower his case and guard his modesty. That means Quran, before talking about hijab for women, talking about hijab for men. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the guidelines. And if you follow the guidelines, inshallah you will get success and you will have the best economical system in the world. As well as taking care of cultural issues and social issues. So, but naturally you should follow the dress code, that the Muslimah should be in hijab, etc. So you follow these cultural values and see to it that you don't keep anything which is involved in haram. Inshallah, it will make you more successful in this dunya and the akhirah. And the last part of the question, the sixth part, healthcare and welfare. And with this we'll end our session. What are the Islamic guidelines for ensuring healthcare and welfare for all citizens in a country like Bangladesh? How can Islamic charitable organizations in Bangladesh be more effective in providing social services? Please, for the sake of Allah, answer this question live on social media. What are the Islamic guidelines for healthcare and welfare? Again, the guidelines of the Quran. It is the Hadith, and see to it that you give health care properly to the citizens. Don't be like USA, where there is no, actually the government doesn't provide free medical for the citizens of USA, unlike India, unlike Malaysia. They have a very good system, and the health system is very good, that if you have a health problem, see to it that you have hospitals that are government hospitals which take care of the situation, that you don't have to spend exorbitant in admitting yourself to the non-Muslim hospitals. But the main guidelines here is Quran and Sunnah. So if you want social stability and other aspects, the healthcare and the welfare, then see to it that you give proper healthcare, unlike USA, where you have to go to insurance and riba-based insurance, and many times you get stuck and you don't get treatment. But see countries like Malaysia, mashallah, the hospitals for the citizens is excellent and they are very effective. So it should be that you use the Baitul Mal or Zakat to solve this problem. And if the Bangladesh is poor, you give them free treatment. You have hospitals that take care of the poor people, and whatever disease that's prevalent, it's the birthright of a human being that he gets the basic treatment. So if you apply the Islamic principles, it will be more successful, unlike applying the principles of the others, where you'll lose more in this dunya as compared to akhirah. So the basic answer is, for all the 6 points, follow Quran and Sunnah. Follow the Quran and the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as the Sahih Hadith. This was all we could take for this session. Until we meet 2 weeks from now, today is the 8th. It is the It's actually 7th, since Malaysia is ahead. It's 8th year, but it's 7th in the rest part of the world. So inshallah, we meet after a fortnight, after 2 weeks. That's on the 21st of September. Till then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.